everyone, welcome back. We are working on the Google Classroom task checklist in this video. So in the last video, we learned how to log in and join a new class on Google Classroom. And in this video, we are going to explain the differences between the Stream tab and the Classwork tab. And I'll also show you how to post and manage an announcement in the Stream. So let's head on back to our sample Google Classroom. All right, make sure we're in the Stream. And right here in the middle is where you can post your announcements. But first, let's just talk about the differences between the stream and the classwork tab. All right, so the stream is a place where teachers can post announcements and questions and other materials for their students. And when you click on the second tab, classwork tab, this is where teachers can post assignments and other materials for their students to work on. So if I click on create, we can create assignments, quizzes, a question, a material. We can reuse an old post and then we can also create topics. I'll talk more about topics in an upcoming video. But for now, let's talk about Stream and Classwork. So the Stream and Classwork tabs, they're great tools for teaching and learning in Google Classroom. And when you understand the differences between these two, your experience will be more efficient and effective. All right, so let's go back to our stream page here and let's create an announcement. So, announcements are a great way to communicate with your students in Google Classroom. You can use announcements to share important information such as upcoming assignments, due dates, and changes to your class schedule. But wait, Cheska, some of you might ask, we already have Parent Square. Why do we need to post announcements in Google Classroom? Well, that is a great question, and my answer is you're right. You don't necessarily need to post these kinds of announcements here on Google Classroom. You could save those types of announcements for Parent Square. In this case, what I suggest you posting in your Google Classroom announcements are your daily learning objectives, your daily class agendas, and maybe even like quick reminders to homework, right? In this case, we could be using the announcements as a digital platform to share what you're doing in the classroom. So this is great in just in case you have one or more students who are absent, and then you can teach them the routine of signing into Google Classroom, looking for the date that they were absent in your announcements, and then they could see what you and the class did on that day, and then they could go ahead to the classwork tab and make up those missed assignments for you. So here I clicked on that space that says announce something to your class, and I just quickly typed up something to post in, right? So I'm making sure that it's just in my CRB example classroom. But let's say I'm a former science teacher. So let's say that we have several, more than one Google Classrooms for science. So I could just select that, or I could also select other classrooms that have me as your science teacher. And then that way I don't have to go back and repost the same announcement several times. I could just do it one time by checking those classes. But in this case, I only have one Google Classroom for my fake science class. So I'm just making sure that it's just CRB example. You can also select whether or not you want them to all students or just to individual students. In this case, I'm sending it to all students because it's something that they all should be aware of. So here I just created an announcement. It's for today, Monday, and and I'm just going ahead and bolding some of the key text so it makes it a lot easier for my students and parents and guardians to see. So I added the date, I added the learning objective, and then I also gave a class agenda, the things that we did in class that day. We did a daily bell ringer, we watched a video on characteristics of life, students took notes using Cornell Notes, and then we did a partner activity, a small lab in class, and then we ended the class period with a daily exit ticket. And then gave a quick reminder: lab safety contracts are to be signed and returned to me by Friday, the end of this week. All right. So if there's nothing else we could do there, we can go ahead and click post. But let's say that I do want to add or embed the video that we use. So here we could use the Google Drive. We can use embed a YouTube video. If you have it on your your local hard drive or on your desktop, you could upload it there too. If you have a link to a website, you could add that link. And then we'll talk about add-ons or extra apps later on. So in this case, I do want to add a video. So I'm going to click on the YouTube icon here, and I don't want them scrolling around in the Classwork tab looking for that video. So I'm going to go ahead and just type in characteristics of life, and search for video that I want them to look for. Okay. So quick tip, when you're looking for video for your class, you normally want that video to be no longer than the amount equal to their grade. So, for example, if I'm teaching seventh grade students, I do not want my video to be more than 7 minutes, right? Because that's just the research there. It's 1 minute per grade. So, if you have garden students, technically 30 seconds to a minute would be best, and then so on and so forth. So, I could pick this one, the Amoeba Sisters. It's a little over 7 minutes, but that's okay. I'm familiar with their work and they're very detailed, right? Or if you just don't want to spend the time going and scrolling through it, you could click duration and you can go ahead and say, you know what? I need this video to be less than 5 minutes. I need this video to be between 5 to 10 minutes. Since they're seventh graders, they can deal with that. I'll click 5 to 10. All right, so now all of these results are videos within that time criteria. I could do this one. I could use this one. That's very graphic there. That's great. But you know what? I like Amoeba Sisters. They're very detailed. So even if it's a little over 7 minutes, that's okay. I could make do with that. So here they're going to preview for you. You could read their descriptions. They even have a transcript. But I'm okay. I don't need to review it. Like I said, I've seen this before. I'll go ahead and add the video. So now you can see that this video is embedded um, with this announcement. So my students who were absent don't need to scroll up and down looking for it in the Classwork tab. All right, the last thing I want to talk about is this carrot over here. So I could post this right now so that everyone can see it. Or let's pretend that I was writing this on Sunday night. I could I could pre-write all my announcements ahead of time. So this is Sunday evening. I'm writing out my materials. And then what I can do is I could schedule that post. Okay, so I could schedule that post to show up on Monday at 8 a.m. As soon as my first period starts. But since this is already Monday and we're way past the 8 a.m. time, of course it's telling you you can't do that. You know, you can't do things in the past. But that's just another way to kind of make work a lot easier for you. You can spend some time during your prep periods, your lunch breaks, or at home when you're prepping things, and you can just go ahead and do your announcements and schedule them for each day that you want it to pop up. And this is nice. This is just a nice way of showing, you know, your what we're doing in class. It's kind of like your screenshot of your lesson plan. All right. Okay, so I do have a Cornell notes, but I'm not going to post that there. I'll do that in another video when we're working on the classwork tab. But just to sum things up, we talked about the difference between the stream and the classwork tabs. And then I also showed you how to make use of the announcements and embed something using one of these tools below. I'll go ahead and post. And here we are. Here is our announcement.